Hello, you are listening to Wealthy Women, a show about immigrant women and their stories. I am Anna Torre.
And I'm Cecilia Gragnani.
Welcome.
So before our first guest today, we'd like to share a little anecdote about our experiences as immigrants. So I was on an airplane flying from Italy back to London a few years ago, and I had an Italian lady sitting next to me. I helped her put her suitcase up. We exchanged a few words in Italian. Then the hostess came, asks us if we fancy a drink, and I put on my best accent in English, saying, "Yes, I'd love an orange juice, please." She serves us, moves away, and then the Italian lady turns towards me and says, very slowly, "Congratulations on your Italian." I had a little moment of, hang on a minute, I just spoke Italian 5 minutes ago. I helped you with your bag. I was reading an Italian book, and but she thought I was foreign, which has been happening a lot since then. And to my surprise, I didn't say, "Hey, I'm actually from Italy. I'm like you." I pretended to be foreign. So I started going, yes, thank you very much. She asked me how I found Milan, which is the place where I was born and raised. And I went, yeah, it's really nice, but small, but nice. And she was like, "Oh, yes, I can imagine. I mean, compared to London." And then she said, "Oh, but the food is good in Italy, isn't it?" I was like, "Yeah, that's the best." It was just quite interesting having this moment of, I'm just going to pretend to be foreign and see what happens with a countryman. Yes, I helped her put her bag up. We had a really small exchange. It was something like, "Prego, non si preoccupi." And I was reading an Italian book, but she thought I was foreign because I asked for orange juice in a very fancy way. So yes, anything can happen when you spend a lot of time in another country.
What made you want to be foreign? Like, what was it that when you made that decision to not tell her that you were Italian? What was it about? Was it a sort of need to not be Italian for a moment?
To be honest, I was a bit thrown, so I didn't think about it. I just went, "Yeah, thank you." I took the compliment, said, "Yes, thank you." And from then on, I couldn't do anything else but pretend to be somebody else. And it was quite funny because she kept asking me questions about Milan, and I was slating my hometown in a funny way. But it was quite interesting because since then, I thought about, who am I? Who have I become? Why am I being mistaken for someone I'm not? And that happens very frequently in airports.
Had you been living in London for a while when that happened?
Yes, I'd been living, I think, in London for 5 or 6 years, but it was quite funny. So next time, for everyone listening, do not pretend to be somebody you're not. Try and be honest if you can, although I have to admit it was quite fun.
I think I have done that myself. I think for me, it is really a need to belong. I think when people ask me where you're from and they don't really know that I'm Mexican, sometimes I do lie. I say, "Oh, I'm British. I was born here." You know what I mean? It's one of those things that you want to be validated.
Absolutely.
So I don't know. I think not necessarily.
With a countryman, would you lie to your own countryman? If a Mexican person asked where you're from, would you say, I'm from London"?
I think maybe I would be tempted. I have definitely done it. I don't know if to a Mexican, but it has happened. I do feel like a Londoner, and I resent the question, "Where are you from?" I do resent it because it's like, "Oh, you're not from here, so you don't belong here." But absolutely. I do belong here. So it's one of those things.
Absolutely. Anyway, a lesson to learn from this anecdote is that usually you speak your own language really well. So I was complimented for my own mother tongue, which, it's something rare and precious to keep. Okay, thank you very much. We're going to carry on with some wonderful guests. So our first guest is Tatiana Nudnova. Is that right?
That's correct.
Welcome, Tatiana. She moved to London in 2011 from Russia, and she has her own chocolate business. Thank you very much for being our guest today. So my first question is, why did you leave Russia?
Well, the story starts a bit earlier than 2011. So I did used to live in London for about a year in 2007 and 8. And it had nothing to do with the chocolate because I was a finance professional and the company decided I need to get some international experience in the UK. So I came to the UK for 1 year secondment, but then the financial crisis came, so wasn't an option of staying in London. Everyone was very gloomy and upset, so I went back. But this year of living here allowed me to understand that I actually really enjoy it. I enjoy the international feeling of the city. I like living here, and basically I knew I wanted to come back. So it was literally me quitting my job, packing my bag, and coming to London. And I've been here since then.
And you've started your own business in London.
Yes, I have. And this is quite a new venture for myself. Very exciting and very nervous, I have to say, at the same time. And the good thing is, at least now that I talk about my business, everyone starts smiling. When I used to talk about finance, everyone would go like, okay, that sounds interesting.
Chocolate does help. Do you think you would have been able to do the same, to have the same business in Russia, or was the fact that you were in London much easier to set it up?
It is definitely easier to start as a young entrepreneur in London, because I think that a lot of different groups helping people, just to talking to other entrepreneurs. There's a lot of support. There are different government programs that help you get the knowledge. And to be honest, setting up companies is much easier here. There's much less paperwork. And what is unheard of in my country, I could have just registered my kitchen. I did have to pass the hygiene certificate and get all the paperwork in terms of how I'm doing my cleaning, and there are procedures in place, but I was able to do it. Yeah, back home, if you want to run a food business, it needs to be a separate venue,
Of course.
and a lot of paperwork. So it was easier.
You just said home, so where is home for you?
So home, I classify Russia and Moscow to be my home, though I do consider myself to be a very global citizen, because I've lived in 5 countries. So I was born in a country which doesn't exist anymore. So I was born in Soviet Union, which was Belarus. And then we moved to Moscow, and now I'm in London.
Is London where you want to stay?
I think for now, but the world is so international and so global. Could have I imagined 10 years ago that I would be living in London? No, I wouldn't. Do I know that in 10 years' time I'm still going to be in London and in the UK? I don't. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But that's the beauty of today, that we can just choose where we want to live and make our fortune.
Absolutely. So about that, what is your immigration status here?
I'm a British citizen now.
Whoa. I'm very envious because I'm working towards that goal. Was it easy to become a British citizen?
It wasn't easy, but I think this is the process that I have started 10 years ago. So talking about this 1 year in London, when I went back to Russia, someone told me about Tier 1 visa, which still existed at the time when UK was welcoming like young and highly skilled immigrants. So, and it allowed you to get this visa just if you had the right education. There was a point-based system, and I qualified. So before anything, after I came back to Russia, I basically thought I need to get this one. I didn't know when I would be coming back and how I would be coming back, but I thought I do want to come back. So I applied. I did get it, though a lot of things that have happened to me it's probably is destiny, because I applied 2 days before the government has changed the regulations. And if I applied 2 days later, I literally wouldn't have qualified and I wouldn't have got all the right points. And then it was it was issued for 3 years. But when I received the document, it was for 3 months. And I was like, what has just happened? Did they give me visa, but at the same time denying the entry because you can't find a job in 3 months? But that was a mistake, so they fixed it. And then a year before my visa was expiring, that's when I've decided, right, I'm moving to London. So I moved here, and from the very first day, I knew I want to carry on extending the visa so that I could qualify for indefinite leave to remain. and then for the passport. So I was counting the days I spent
Wow.
in the country and outside of the country.
I know it's a lot of work.
It's a-
So you're a Brit now. Shall we say that?
yes. I'm a
You're
Brit
a,
now.
you're a Brit. You're a Brit who makes wonderful chocolate, and we'll
Thank
talk
you.
about that later. Actually, as we're chatting to a professional in the chocolate business, let's have a little break and have a listen to a chocolate classic that I personally love. It's by Tom Waits, and it's called Chocolate Jesus. But stay with us, and if you want to carry on listening to this interview, just go on www.womensradiostation.com. This is Chocolate Jesus.
I don't go to church on Sunday. Don't get on my knees to pray. Don't memorize the books of the Bible. Got my own special way. I know Jesus loves me. Maybe just a little bit more. I fall down on my knees every Sunday at the Lee's candy store. Well, I've got to be a chocolate Jesus. Make me feel good inside. Got to be a chocolate Jesus. Keep me satisfied. Well, I don't want no apple zapple. Don't want no almond joy. There ain't nothing better suitable for this boy. Well, that's the only thing that can pick me up. It's better than a cup of gold. You see, only a chocolate Jesus will satisfy my soul. When the weather gets rough and it's whiskey in the shade, it's best to wrap your savior up in cellophane. It flows like the big muddy, but that's okay. Pour him over ice cream for a nice parfait. Well, it's got to be a chocolate Jesus, good enough for me. Got to be a chocolate Jesus. It's good enough for me. Well, it's got to be a chocolate Jesus. Make me feel so good inside. Got to be a chocolate Jesus. Keep me satisfied.
Storybox Impro, the kids' art and impro show for ages 4 to 11 years. The kids' show where the audience get a show and their own special art creation. Now taking bookings for parties and weddings tailored especially for your special occasion. All you need is your imagination. Visit storyboximpro.com or visit womensradiostation.com now.
Welcome back. You're listening to Worldly Women. I'm Cecilia and I'm here chatting with Tatiana. You can catch the first part of our conversation on www.womensradiostation.com. So we were talking about you moving to London, being a British citizen now. What do you like about life here?
I really like the international feel of London. I think it's a unique place, and I do appreciate that it's probably slightly different to the other parts of the UK. I like the fact that you can have an international women radio and you have people from all over the world coming. Who would have imagined that an Russian immigrant would be interviewed?
Absolutely. That's what I love about London too. Do you think you could have lived anywhere else in the UK, or is it something about London that makes it?
I've never tried living anywhere else in the UK. I don't know. It could be possible. I can imagine at one point of time I might start having a family and move out to a quieter place. But for now, I enjoy being here.
And do you have an international network of people, friends, or is it mainly Russian or from everywhere in the world, or nobody from Russia at all?
It's a very international network of friends. My best girlfriends are Russian. It all happened that we moved to the UK about the same time, and we became really close friends. But then my network was expanding, and there are Australians, British, Lebanese, French, Russians, Caribbean, anyone, and that's what I like.
We were commenting during the break on how amazing your accent is. Do you get recognized as a Russian here, or are people a bit confused and they ask you where are you from and they can't really place you?
People can't really place me. I mean, they can. I would say some people who are not native English speakers, quite a lot of them do take me for a Brit. And please, British people, don't get offended, but because I know that when I talk to a native English speaker from the UK, they can hear straight away that I'm not local. But when I used to go to the States, again, quite a lot of the people would take me for British, which I would take as a compliment. So I think it's a bit of a mix, but people take me for German, Scandinavian.
Technical issue, but fixed.
Yeah.
You were saying people think...
A lot of people take me for Scandinavian or German. Some think I'm South African.
How does that feel?
All right.
Wonderful. And what is your relationship with Russia?
My family, well, again, my family is spread around the world, so I have quite a small family. My closest family, my father, my sister, and my niece live in Russia. My closest friends, like uni friends, live there, but I have relatives in the States. I have relatives in Israel. I have relatives in the Ukraine. So
wow, you're definitely a citizen of the world, I would say.
I am.
And tell us a little bit about this chocolate business in London.
It is called Love in Chocolate, but I have to admit it's a name that's gonna change. I won't release the new name. It has all started as a hobby and by accident. It actually came out from a love story. So I had a friend who came to London. He was my uni friend, and I wanted to impress him. So I've decided I should make some chocolates. He invited me over for dinner, and I should bring something nice. So I've made those chocolates influenced by a recipe from back home. Not the original recipe, but it's with fruit and nuts and chocolate. Knew nothing about the chocolate. And clearly I was running, as any girl, I was running late. So I've never tried what I've done. And already on the train, I'm kind of decided, okay, maybe I should have a taste to make sure I won't poison the guy. And I tried it and I was like, oh my God, this is so amazing. This is so good. I ate half of the chocolates myself, but decided, okay, maybe I should still keep some for the guy. And then he tried them and he goes like, oh my God, this is a bomb. He literally said, this is a bomb. You should ditch your bank and start making chocolate. And he's like, I'm not kidding. So it was a joke. But I've decided, well, why not? I should keep on doing it. I should build up my chocolate skills because when I tried it, I knew nothing about tampering. I knew nothing about chocolate.
Did he fall in love with you after the chocolate?
He fell in love with the chocolates, but he married another girl.
Okay. Well, the chocolate is more important, isn't it?
I think so.
And from jokes, often amazing things come up and happen. So that's great. So what are you doing with your business now here?
As I've mentioned, it's quite an early stage. So I started working on it full time only in 2017, and took me some time to develop what I'm gonna name it, create a logo.
Can we share the name with our listeners, even though you might be changing it?
You mean my future name?
Well, I have a name called lovinchocolate.co.uk.
Yes, that's my current name, but it's gonna be changing.
Okay, well, we'll let our listeners know if it changes, when it changes, because some of us have tried this chocolate and apparently it's amazing. So we will definitely be keeping an eye for that.
Thank you.
We have to wrap up. I have a quick test question to test your Britishness. So you need to answer true or false.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
So, at times of necessity, it is acceptable in the UK to jump ahead of others in a queue without asking permission first.
No.
There you are. You're a true Brit. Well, thank you very much for being with us, Tatiana. It's been really fun talking to you. So sorry we have to leave it here. We have some other amazing women coming up. So stay with us. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to Women's Radio Station, the voice of women worldwide.
So I do glitter for a living.
Coming up next on Women's Radio Station.
WRS, Women's Radio Station.
Hey, this is Jessie and I'm a life architect.
So what has made you say F it in rage or F it in joy this week?
I love listening to Women's Radio whilst driving in my car.
My sport and me. Listen online, on your smartphone and on your computer.
If you wanted to find out a little bit more, do go to our website, womensradiostation.com.
Young Presenter of the Year Award. Do you dream of being a radio host? If you're a boy or girl aged between 13 and 17, this is your chance. To enter, just record a 1-minute clip talking about what hopes you have for the future of women in society. Do you dream there'll be a female president? Will Beyoncé still be in the charts? Make sure you start the clip with your name and age. The winner of Young Presenter of the Year will receive a trophy and will spend a day with Women's Radio Station learning how to present with their favourite host. They'll also get a 2-day radio training course in a recognised institution. To enter, visit our website, womensradiostation.com, for more information.
Irritable bowel syndrome, or IBS, affects 10 to 20% of the UK population at any one time. That's over 12 million people. IBS is a complex, life-changing, long-term condition. Symptoms will vary from person to person and include abdominal pain, diarrhoea, constipation or both, bloating and swelling, excessive wind, and the need to rush to the toilet. IBS can often lead to feelings of isolation and severely impact people's working and personal lives. Suffering alone with IBS can be devastating. Our charity, the IBS Network, helps people every day. We receive no NHS or government funding. By donating just £2 per month, you will be part of the IBS Network community of support. You'll be able to contact an IBS medical expert, and you will help others like you to live well with IBS. To find out more, please visit theibsnetwork.org or call us on 0114 272 3253.
Hollywood Babes is a unique ladies' wear boutique situated in Thought Bay Broadway in Southend-on-Sea. We carefully select all our lines and offer you only the very best in women's clothing. Here at Hollywood Babes, we ensure you look and feel the part. Whether it is for a special occasion or loungewear, we can help you find that special something to make you feel $1 million. So pop on down to Hollywood Babes, Thought Bay Broadway, Essex, and get ready to be styled.
Hello, you are listening to Worldly Women, a show about immigrant women and their stories. I am Ana Torre, and our second guest is Cynthia Lilen. Cynthia is an Argentinian actress with a set designing degree. Hi Cynthia, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Okay, so my first question is, how long have you been in the UK?
I've been here for a little bit longer than 4 years. In October, it's been 4 years.
Okay. And why did you leave your country of origin? Why did you leave Argentina?
Well, I think I've always thought that I didn't really belong where I was from, but I did not really know why, or it wasn't a reason. And I always had this dream to come to the UK. I think I had this romanticized idea of England, and embarrassingly enough, I think it has to do with the Harry Potter books, which I don't tell a lot of people because I think it's really lame. But I think that was more the romanticized idea. But then when I actually came here, I really loved it for real.
So what was your idea of England?
I don't know. I always had a love for English, specifically as a language. I love learning it. I love speaking it, listening to it. And then all the history as well. I was always very interested in, like, you know, old history. I come from a really new country. And I don't know, it just really, I don't know, it was like a dream to come here and experience all of it. And it was a really nice surprise when I actually came here and I liked it for real, because I wasn't sure if it was all in my mind.
And where would you say is home for you? Is home London? Is home Buenos Aires?
Oh, that is a tough question. I think I would say London is home for me, because I think I've kind of set my adult life here. So when I go back to Buenos Aires, it's almost like going back to when I was young, living with my parents, because that's where I stay at their home. And it's lovely, and I love my family and I love my friends and I miss them. But I know every time I go, I'm visiting. It never feels like I want to stay there. It always feels like I love going and visiting, but then there's something always pulling me back to London and to everything that I've created, which is like my life here.
Was there a specific reason why you chose London to do your training? You did come to London to train as an actor, is that correct?
Yes, I did. Well, a lot of people ask me that because they ask me why didn't I go to the USA, which is a lot closer and is also an English-speaking country. I just felt that every time I saw mostly films, because obviously I didn't go to the theatre in England when I was living in Buenos Aires, but every time I saw acting or anything that had to do with TV shows, films, I've always felt a lot more inclined to enjoy and feel more connected with things that were made in the UK or had, like, you know, English British actors, because I felt that it was more relatable. It's a really silly thing, but American things always feel a bit out of reach. The characters feel like they're out of a magazine. They don't feel real to me. And every time I saw something that was a British TV series or something like that, I always felt like people look more real, and I just felt like there I could maybe be part of that, you know, kind of stories that felt like I could connect to and other people could too.
And how you've found work once you've graduated and started working in this country? How do you feel about the opportunities that you've had?
I think it's a lot harder than I thought it would be. And one of the things I realized is that I'd never felt more Latin American until I actually left Latin America. Back there, I just felt like a person. I don't know, another woman. And then when I came here, it almost like I became this almost representation of a Latin American woman. You know, people pointed out certain things that I didn't see about me, and then only then I start asking what it is to be a Latin American woman in the business, in the acting business here in England. And in a way, I resented it a little bit, but also I think it made me reconnect a lot more to my roots, I think. And I got to know lots of people from Latin America, you being one of them, which I not only trained, but also share a lot of things. And I think it almost became a positive thing. I just felt like I embraced that a lot more than when I was back home.
do you feel a responsibility to actually represent Latin American women? Do you feel that you have to give them a voice as a performer?
Yes, I do. I didn't think I would feel that way. But like I said, when I started feeling that, it became almost like I wanted to break those stereotypes that I was put on while studying, because we were just two Latin Americans in the course. And I think all of that pressure became a bit like, no, that's not necessarily who I am just because you think I am that way. And I felt like so many other people feel that and maybe don't have the opportunity or the place to express that and to break those boundaries. And I think, I feel a bit responsible to do that, yeah.
At New Square Tutors, we believe that matching a student with the right tutor is half the battle. We help students from preschool to adult to gain confidence and a love of learning. Whether it's working towards an exam or hoping to build confidence, we're here to help. Our tutors cover a range of subjects as well as all major school exams and university entry. Lessons are tailored to the student's individual needs to ensure the best learning experience. For more information, visit www.newsquaretutors.com or check out the Women's Radio Station website.
They said I was too much, too intense, too loud, too independent, too sensitive, too political, too powerful, too cold. I'm just too much of a person. I've started a project and I'm looking to photograph people who identify as a woman or non-binary who have been accused of being too much of something. My idea is that something is really our power. And if we haven't done so already, how we reclaim that, enjoy that, and be whatever we want. We'd like to share your story of being called too much and your portrait in a social campaign and exhibition expected to launch in September 2018. To put your discussion and photograph session wherever you are in the world, go to Women's Radio Station and find our contact details there.
Hello and welcome back to Worldly Women. I'm Anna Torre and I'm here with Cynthia Lilen. So Cynthia, could you tell me what do you like about living here?
I think one of the reasons I really like living here is all the things, like it sounds really, maybe everyone says that, but like there's so many things to see and do in London. And I literally been overbooking myself with like going to see plays, festivals, so many things that I cannot see just because I can't afford them, because I've spent my money in all the other things that I am actually going to see. And I think for theatre and almost like everything, poetry readings, spoken word, there's so many, I don't know, people like that go to museums. I'm like, oh, you need to go see this exhibition. It's so interesting. And like, I don't know, there's a constant feed of information and if you know where to look, new things, not just mainstream, because I rarely go to the West End. I rarely go to, those places that are a lot more promoted. But there's so many other little things everywhere. And I think that's fascinating. And it's like, it's endless. It's like, I don't know, the universe in a small city.
And what do you hate about living here?
I think I hate living away from my family and friends. I think that's one thing that it's always a little bit, it weighs a little bit. And I think the longer I stay here, the more it weighs, because I think the longer I stay here is the more I commit myself to this place. The less I want to go back, but also it means the further away I am from all those people that have been a big part of my life and that know me. I have friends that I've had since I was 4 years old that, know me like no one here. And when I go through something really hard or, whatever situation here that's difficult, I do feel that little bit of loneliness of like not having those people around me. Because London, it's a big city and there's a lot of things to do, but also it can be very lonely because everyone has their own busy lives. And also most of my friends that live here have family close by, so they don't really know what it feels like to feel a little bit isolated. So it's a little bit of both, really.
Do you think you would ever go back to Argentina?
That's something my mom always asks. At the moment, no, I don't have any reason to go back, but I just feel like life always surprises you. You never know where you're going to go, where you're going to be. I don't even know if I'm going to be in London forever. I'm open to living in other places or, traveling around, or even if there's something that brings me back home, I'm not denying that possibility, but always with a reason or a project. I could never go back just because I miss my family. I feel like that's putting a lot of weight in other people, and I would never move away for someone. I think it has to be for my own, maybe a project. If it takes me back home, I'd love it. It'd be really nice.
And what's your immigration status at the moment?
Meaning like how I'm legally here. Basically, I have an Italian passport, like many Argentinians. I'm lucky that way. My mum's family are of Italian descent, because I'm like 5th generation Italian, but we all have those lovely passports that give us the opportunity to be, in lots of places very easily.
Are you eligible for citizenship? Brexit?
I don't think so. I think you need like a certain amount of years to live here, and I don't think because also the 2 years that I've lived here, 5, thank you. 2 years that I've lived here, I was a student, so I wasn't paying taxes, which is fine. Great, I didn't think so. Okay, I'm clearly not really well informed.
It's actually not fine.
It's not fine?
No. If you weren't paying taxes when you were a student, then you're not eligible for citizenship unless you had private medical insurance. If you didn't, then you can't. Those years don't qualify. But that is for another interview.
Yay!
So
fun facts.
What would you say are your hopes for the future?
Well, my hopes for the future, it's a very big question, but I'm very excited about what's happening in terms of, I'm going to say the word feminism. Dun, dun, dun.
Good word. We like that word here.
I love that word. I'm very excited about what's going on, not just here, like worldwide, even back in Latin America. There's a big movement. Women are standing up for themselves, and also lots of men are kind of, like, I love the word that people use, like woke, being woke, waking up from that, lovely place that they've been living, enjoying themselves. And I think my hopes is that that's going to progress, and more people are going to stop trying to find the difference and trying to find actually what we're alike and what we can do together, and that we all can be equal. And when everyone's equal, everyone's happy. Everyone. So that brings me a lot of hope and joy for the future.
Well, Cynthia, thank you so much for joining us today. We unfortunately need to wrap it up, but thank you very much for coming.
This is it for today, Anna, isn't it?
Yes, indeed.
Well, thank you very much for tuning in. If you want to get in touch, tweet us at worldly_women or Women's Radio STN. Or you can also email us at presenters@womensradiostation.com.
If you have any stories similar to Cynthia and Tatiana, we would love to hear your comments. More stories next week on Women's Radio Station.